What's the best accidental nudity you have experienced? Service plumber here. Went to a call. Lady came to the door. Attractive. 30-ish. Holding her robe closed with one hand and trying to hold her large dog back with the other. The dog lunged a bit and so she used her other hand that was holding the robe closed. Well, she must have been in a hurry that morning because she was full on naked under the robe. I politely looked away, but it was too late. I saw it all. And it was the wrong address. Time to say mine. Well, own time in school we had to do some useless yoga as PE. We had no choice, so the teachers made us do push-ups. We were outside on the grass, and this girl was in front of me who wore a skirt that day, no underwear. I look up to see if we finished push-ups and see the hottest girl in the grades, but right in my face. Will never forget that moment. I was a data center monkey for a time. Got a ticket to replace a failing SSD. No problem. Go to stock room. Grab new SSD from stock. Open case. Replace SSD. RAID array rebuilds automatically. Job done. Except this time the steps were: go to stock room. Find half naked employee changing into her uniform. Quickly and apologetically close door. In fact, this happened twice with two separate people. We had change rooms and bathrooms all over the facility with privacy locks that lock from the inside. Why do people feel it is a good idea to get naked in the stockroom? How do people who are not technicians and are theoretically not on the ACL gain access to this locked room? Why would they jump through the proverbial hoops to enter a secure area when the change rooms are just sitting open? These are questions I have, but do not have answers to. I have not attempted to correct this problem for, well, obvious reasons. I have a story for the worst. Some background. I was 19 at the time. My boyfriend, now husband, was still living with his mom and stepdad. They lived in a ranch-style house with an attached garage. When you entered from the garage, the open staircase to the basement/rec area was straight ahead, and my boyfriend's room was immediately to the left. The incident: my boyfriend and I were out for New Year's Eve. We went back to his parents' place at the end of the night, about 2-ish. I walk in first, and my eyes naturally shoot to the basement. I see a full frontal of his stepdad completely naked. He was standing there shooting darts. I bolted into my boyfriend's room, as did my boyfriend, and shut the door. About a minute later we hear his mom come up the stairs and scurry to their bedroom on the other side of the house, and then back down, assumedly to grab clothes. The entire time making conversation through the door, like, "Did you kids have a nice time? We weren't expecting you back so soon," etc. It was horrible. To this day, over a decade later, naked darts is still horribly burned in my mind. I have one. My husband and I went to the English Gardens in Munich, and a crazed Aussie convinced him to strip and jump in the river in his boxers. Well, it isn't a slow river, and finally he realized, well shit, I need to get out. He ended up clinging under a bridge and his undies sailed merrily off downstream, while his hands were occupied. He crawled out with a lot of effort, but naked, and hauled himself onto the shore, about 2 miles from me and his clothes. After catching his breath he climbed up an embankment, and landed splat on a family's picnic blanket. Bare-ass naked. Potato salad was spilled and horror ensued. He apologized in English, hopelessly embarrassed, while they goggled at him in shock. Like, it's okay to be naked there, but don't sit in someone's potato salad while American. I met him with his clothes about halfway, and he was still beet red and dying of embarrassment. I love traveling with Aussies. It's always a good time. I was part of a sound engineering team doing a live show of The Great Gatsby. They asked me to go make up the actors. Thought I would start with the actresses, because their dressing rooms were closest. Stupid me was so in a rush that I forgot to knock. I just walked in, and it was tits everywhere. Luckily no one saw me, so I just backed up and knocked. They said I can come, and so went in again, and again tits everywhere. Seems like they didn't really care. And the fact that all of them were really hot made it so much better. Even got to party with them after the show. My first accidental nudity. I was 8 and was at my older cousin's house for her birthday party. Needed to go to the bathroom. Took a wrong turn and walked into a bedroom. I'd only been to her house a handful of times. Had no idea anyone was indoors. And there they were, my cousin's best friends, both 14, but naked and changing into their swimsuits. Being the dumb 8-year-old that I was, it didn't register to me that they were naked until a few seconds before they noticed the door was open. Neither screamed. They were kinda like deer in headlights until I quickly backed out of the room and said I'm so sorry. I was working at a summer festival in a beach town. One of the attractions at the festival was a gathering of mermaids for photos and selling mermaid themed merch and such. The girls they hired as the mermaids were all stunning. There were also a couple of good looking mermen, but the girls got most of the attention naturally. I was assisting with getting the mermaids down to their spot at the pier before the event started, and one of them, beautiful blonde with a really awesome, well-made blue and black mermaid tail, had a costume malfunction, and somehow her bikini top came off. She couldn't grab it herself because she couldn't stand while wearing the tail, and I had to grab it for her. She had great tits. Fortunately, I managed not to be awkward about it, and one of the other mermaids was able to help her fix it. TLDR, a mermaid accidentally flashed me. Being 10 to 11 years old and floating the Illinois River was a pretty common July 4th tradition in my family. If you've never floated a river, it involves large amounts of alcohol, weed, and women. It is a great family activity if you go earlier in the day. Later on, and everyone that does repeat floats is pretty hammered. We end up taking longer than we intended, with our entire group getting ready, and got the whole family in a raft. Dad rents a canoe for him and his best bud. I'm in one of the rafts with mom and sister and some other family friends. About an hour into the float, everyone is pretty hammered and having a great time. I end up jumping in his canoe at some point away from mom, and we are floating near a huge raft barge, 5-6 rafts tied together, absolutely full of teenagers, 8 to 10 girls, 8 to 10 guys. My dad looks at me and says, "Hey son, watch this cool trick I can do." He gets up on the canoe and yells at the group of people, "Hey, show my son some tits, he's never seen any." I shit you not, every girl in that group of hot ass girls whipped them boobies out. I remember turning beet red and being embarrassed as fuck, but my dad could not stop laughing. Good times. I used to work as a door guy at a club. One night a cute girl who was a regular came down to the stairs to the front door drunkenly adjusting her blouse and skirt. She asked if her outfit looked too slutty because she just found out her boyfriend was coming to the club. She was there with girlfriends and hadn't been expecting to see him. She was worried he might see her and get jealous if he thought her clothing was too revealing. I told her it might be, since during her blouse adjustments her left boob had popped out and was currently fully exposed. I got a good laugh out of it and saw an accidental boob. It was a good day.